EdTech is a niche platform building a network for women across the board, specifically those working in STEAM, traditionally expanded to be science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. We have gone for a slightly skewed arrangement of the acronym, tagging ourselves as a repository of women in teams. We envision ourselves as co-opting an outreach, or let's say an arm that tackles, trains, connects, grows, and contributes in some small way to the efforts to enhance skills for women in different areas of work. This applies to women in Pakistan and the Pakistani diaspora wherever possible around the world.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to EdTech's first session of Shri Soiree Live Sprints. My name is Bemisal Iqbal, and I'm going to be your host for today. With me are the co-founders of EdTech, Saida Mehek and Aqsa Tariq. And they have been in the tech industry for about 10 to 12 years now, and they have made a name for themselves in the industry. And Aqsa and Mehek, I would like to first talk to you two a little about EdTech, and then we will move on to our first her story for today. So Aqsa, can you tell us a little about the motivation and inspiration behind EdTech?
So thank you, Bemisal, and thank you to Mama as well for joining us today. I'd just like to keep it short and just briefly. So EdTech was, to be honest, just an idea that was, in the works for quite some time, in discussion with a lot of people, a lot of partners, a lot of women, who've been working in this field. And as you mentioned, Mehek and I are relatively sort of new in this field, even though 10 years, it seems like, wow, it's a decade. But to be honest, there is so much work that's been happening, so much work that Pakistani women all around the world are doing. So it was just sort of, an idea that we had. We wanted to bring in stories and share those stories with a larger audience. Both of us have been in the field for quite some time, but we've seen that, this field is still sort of underrepresented in Pakistan and internationally as well. And, to be honest, our idea is to just showcase those stories, highlight the women, who've been driving these fields. So the different fields that we're sort of targeting are, of course, the fields of STEAM. But traditionally, obviously, it's just science, tech, engineering, arts, and mathematics. But we want to go a bit beyond that and, cover people from all over. So whether it is mathematics or media, whether it is engineering or entertainment, I don't think there's any role or any professional field that women have not excelled in, Pakistani women. And we're really proud of that, and we want the world to know about it. So EdTech is just one of the platforms that we hope can do so. I'll give it up to Mehek, but just thank you once again, Mama, for being here today. Over to you, Mehek.
Mehek, I would like you to highlight the programs that we are going to be, inshallah, offering as EdTech in the future.
Okay, thank you everyone, and I am so happy that this is one of the first of our series that we're doing today. So congratulations, guys. I think this in itself is a lot. It's a milestone for all of us. And Umama, thank you for being here. So what we're doing at EdTech, we have a couple of programs that we're running. So one, the first of its kind is the She Labs program, which is our signature program, where we offer modules around digital skills, basic financial trainings, capacity building, people who are self-starters and they want to, do something on their own. They want to maybe start earning from home. So since we've been working in the industry, we've been into the business. I've had the privilege of running a few training programs. So just gotten all of our learnings together, and that's one of the things that we're offering. It's a capacity building program. So the second thing that we're doing is Sheelan's Boutiques, which are shorter capsule-sized trainings, which are again half a day trainings, जिसके अंदर हम आपको similar domains के अंदर हमारा एक बहुत बड़ी अब community बन गई है. Mama is just one of them. We have some fantastic women from the industry, from Pakistani diaspora and Pakistan itself, who we're working with to develop small capsule-sized trainings for you. And again, since we are women in teams, which is tech, engineering, aeronautics, management, anything, you name it, we have that network and we're working with them to get together these trainings ताकि आप लोगों को people who are new into the market, people who've taken maybe some time off and are wanting to come back into the sector again. So this is your chance to start building that community and start to build that network with us. Then we're also into consultancy. So all you ladies out there in our community who are a part of organizations and who think that they can give us some business, please do so. We're a startup, and that would be really nice if we can help you in professional development trainings, in entrepreneurship trainings. But I've been in the sector for a while now. Aksa has been someone who's extensively been in the very well connected with the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and that's something that we can surely offer and help you as part of your corporate sector too. Then we're going to start from January. We'll be doing Ibtada Incubator, which is a once a year virtual incubation program where 15 women who are seeking to start their own business, have great ideas, have interesting ideas, and who want to go through that cycle of learning how to do a business. We'd be helping them do so. And then the last thing is for all our young girls and women who are inside universities right now, who want to learn, who want to build that network, who want to get connected to women from the industry, that our program for you is the Chapped Hers, where what we do is we work with you, we set up a society, we give you targets, we help you, all throughout the year, we invite you to our events, we give you free passes to our training programs, and that's your chance to get connected to us. And in future, inshallah, as we grow, you grow with us. You'd be a part of our teams, you'd be a part of the teams of our networks, and that's how we're trying to inculcate that culture of networking into our universities and our youngsters too. So that's some of the things that we do. We have our community showcases as well, if I may mention. So we're at one side, we're doing trainings, we're also creating valuable content. So if you, as Aksa mentioned and as our video mentioned, we're trying to redefine women heroes for Pakistan, and that cannot happen until we have good stories, until we find those women who've been doing something with their lives, who've been making something of it, who've started their own entrepreneurial journeys, who've been in leadership positions inside their organizations, and so on. So what we have is we're showcasing through our females. We have female feature. We're showcasing and highlighting all those fantastic women who've been out there in the industry and have made a name. Then we have her stories, which is another segment of us, and new women who've started something of their own, who've been able to make a mark in the industry. We'd be showcasing them, and so on and so forth. So we have a couple of things that we're doing, and we're just so excited to be here today telling you about all of this, because we do know we've added you to the community, but we haven't really gone out there to tell what we're doing. So over to you, Bemisal. I hope I didn't take a lot of your time, but I really had to tell our community what we do.
No, thank you so much for highlighting all that we are, inshallah, planning to do in the future. And just taking forward from what Mehek said about redefining female heroes in Pakistan, that is the ultimate aim of this series as well, that we are aiming to look in our wider circle and identify women who are doing some amazing work out there and bring their stories to you. So without further delay, I would like to introduce our speaker for today's first session, Umama Hanafi Siddiqui. She is a senior financial analyst at First Service Residential in Canada. Assalamu alaikum, Umama. How are you? And thank you for coming today.
Wa alaikum salam, and thank you all for inviting me. This is a great feature that, series that you guys have started. I'm honestly very honored. I don't know if I count myself as a hero, because I will start by saying that all of us, all women in their own right, are heroes. Actually, if you go back to any woman and you ask her to tell you her story, I can assure you that you will be blown away. So a little bit about myself, first of all. So what I did start, I'm an accountant, right? So I'm a numbers person. That's where I am. That's who I am. I basically, as far as when I started studying, I did my A-levels and I went on to do my ACCA directly right after. So I did my ACCA, my bachelor's together. And then once I was done with that and I thought I was done, I decided to pursue my MBA from IBA. So that's where I ended up then after my ACCA. And now I'm in Canada. So when I came to Canada, that's when I decided to pursue my CPA. So there's a lot of accounting knowledge in the background right now. My story, I wanted to say, is very simple. It's a story of all women. It's a story of perseverance. It's a story of dedication. And it's a story of a very determined father backing his daughters, right? So I will hand it all to my father. I think he might be watching this right now. So I'm going to say that he was the one person who really always pushed us to move places. So I know that they say behind every successful man, there is a woman, but I can assure you behind every successful woman, there are also men supporting her. And it starts with your father. It becomes your friends. It'll become your husband. It changes over time. And so even when I was studying, I remember when I was doing my ACCA, there were times that we would be sitting in a classroom. There would be a handful of us and there would be no electricity. And we would be sitting under a tube light, but we would take that class. And I had some really good friends, in that environment who were very supportive. And that continued to IBA as well. So as a woman in accounting, it was always very doubtful. And it was like, oh, you're an accountant? I'm like, well, yeah. Like, oh, I didn't think you'd look like that. Like, well, what does that mean? I was like, accountants can be fun. I find that a little offensive. And even when I was at IBA, I remember sitting in a class with 60 students. There were 2 women. And I remember the other girl would be absent. So there would be me and 58 other guys in the class. And that's just how it is, I guess. And a lot of people who have pursued accounting, I'm sure, can relate to this. So it's been an interesting journey. You definitely can't do it without the support. And it's a lot about yourself. It's a lot about trying and giving it your best. It's a story about persevering. It's just not about settling, right? So you have to, whatever you put your mind on, you have to go through with it. And as a woman in the accounting field, I still get questions about, oh, Acha, you do accounting? Oh, and I'm like, yes. And I clearly remember an incident so my last work experience in Pakistan was actually teaching at IBA. So I went back to teach once I graduated, and I was teaching the bachelor's level programs. And I was the first woman faculty in a long time. I don't know if I was the first at all in the accounting side of it. So when I walked into Dr. Ishrat's office, who was the dean at that time, for my final interview, and he said, I just wanted to meet you. And I was like, okay, here I am. And he was like, no, I just wanted to know, who's this woman in accounting? And I was like, okay, because he was like, I was expecting some man. And they were like, no, this is a lady. And, she's coming in. And he was like, so we just had a very open conversation. And we discussed the same thing about this perception of women in accounting and, how is it seen? And I was like, look, it's a very open thing. And whilst I was there, I actually dragged in a colleague. I said, listen, you need to join in. So she was the second person. Then we got another woman come in. And, it kind of built, it's just about taking that first step, and everybody's open to it. We do have that perception, and it's unfortunate, but we're changing it, and we're changing it slowly, but we're making that effort and we're changing it. So now there are more women teaching accounting at IBA, and that's great, right? But what I really want to focus on today is, because I know this is about telling our story. So, I got married. I was teaching for a long time, actually in Pakistan. Throughout, I was teaching A-levels, and then I started teaching at the university level. And it was great, and I enjoyed it. You get married, you have children. It's something you have to juggle. It was convenient because I was teaching part-time. And then we decided to immigrate to Canada, and we were a young family. We just left everything behind and, picked it all up, and we decided to, make the move. So when I came here, this was essentially, I would say, when my own personal journey started. And I tell everyone, and I say it was the journey of rediscovering myself. I was 32, right? And people are like, oh, with 30, who's going to go back to school? And I'm like, my life kind of like restarted when I was 32, your responsibilities, everything's in order. My daughters were older, they were more independent. And so when I came here, I looked into getting my CPA sorted. But my first job here was very clerical. I mean, I was teaching at IBA, I was teaching at a university level, but I was like, it's okay. You have to take that step. And I think as women, we don't look at barriers. We do automatically look to break barriers. So I said, it's okay. It's a clerical job. What was I doing? I mean, I was in ACCA MBA. I was stuffing envelopes and I was sending around files to sign. But I was like, you know what? It's fine. And I did that for a few months. I ended up getting a permanent job. And within that year or just under a year, I got promoted into 2 roles because there's nothing that can substitute hard work. And I think we all have that drive and we all are very persistent. We don't let go, which also can be our weakness because we are always so driven to be perfect at everything that it does take a toll on us as well sometimes. But when I was 33 is when I got my first driver's license, right? People get it when they're 16, 17. I was 33. I'm proud of it. At least I got it. I was 34 when I bought my first car. It's fine. Again, it was a self-achievement. So this thing about, I have dreams. And I mean, I openly tell people, maybe one day I want to do a PhD. And they're like, oh, but when will you do it? Like, what does that mean? I was like, 45. And they're like, oh, 45? Like, oh my God, but life is like, there's no number. Why do we have to put these numbers on everything? Everybody can take their own time. There's no competition. And this time has kind of made me realize that everybody's journey is different. I've noticed a big change in myself. My priorities have changed. My outlook has changed. What was important to me when I was 25 is not that important to me anymore. So you grow as a person as well, right? And it doesn't really matter. Like it doesn't matter what your history is. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It's just a story about yourself. And this year, I'm sure for many of us, working, not working, stay-at-home moms, it has been a challenge, an absolute challenge, right? Because again, as women, we have to wear multiple hats, right? We're the ones managing the house. And it was just last month, actually, that I felt like I was going to have a breakdown. I was like, I can't do this. Like, it's just getting too much. And I was talking to a friend of mine and she said, I was like, oh my gosh, it's 5:30. I just got off a meeting. I have to cook. And the girls, she's like, why don't you just order something? And I was like, no, we had pizza 3 days ago. And she was like, so? And I was like, well, no, I'm, like, why should I order? She's like, well, why are you going to cook now? Like, why don't you just make it easy? And that's when we had this discussion. And I realized that we as women set standards in our own heads. We set standards in our own heads. We don't meet our own standards. And then we feel bad about it. And we feel upset. And she said, well, who is setting these standards? And she turned around and said, why? Who did someone ask you to cook? And I said, no. He's like, did Imad ask you to cook? I said, no, he didn't. So he's like, so what's the problem? I said, I don't know. And that's when I thought about it later at night. And I said, oh my gosh, yeah. I was like, we want to be perfect. And we just kind of create these goals, these standards in our head. And then when we don't achieve them, we feel bad. But it's not about having these standards. If you order food twice a week or 3 times a week to make your life easy, go ahead, do it, right? I mean, why do we as women try to make things more difficult for us? We always, and it's natural, and I'm sure everybody does it. It's not just me. We're like, no, I can't do this. Yeah, I know, right? Like you do it too. Like, oh, but no, I can't do this. Like, even with the girls, I'm like, oh, no, but I can't do this right now. Like, let me try and figure it out. Like, oh, but she's already watched 2 hours of TV. Like, no, I can't let her watch half an hour more. Is half an hour going to do anything? Like, no, let's just let her watch TV. So, yeah, so it's a lot about that. And I mean, my story, like, I don't want to make my story seem out of the ordinary. So as a woman, all our stories, what I started with in the beginning is all our stories are extraordinary. You can sit down with any woman and you will know that she has battled enormous battles on her own, personal battles. And I don't mean battles means you're having, a argument with your boss. There's a lot of personal battles as well. The personal battles that, oh, this is what I want to do, but I can't, so I'm a failure. Nobody else thinks you are, right? Like when you said, oh, we want you to be part of this hero, and we wanted to talk about your story, and I felt really overwhelmed. I was like, but I'm very ordinary. Like, what's so special about me, And we're very humble. We don't recognize our strengths. We don't recognize our achievements. And I think we should. And also, I feel that I understand that it's difficult. A lot of women have a lot of trouble. But when you are able to get support, take it. There is no reason to say no to support, right? So growing up, I still do have my parents. Whenever something goes wrong, whenever there's anything, the first people I call, like, oh, Amma, ba, this happened, or what do I do now, or anything, whatever may happen. Once I moved here, and even before that, when I was, again, trying to get into this work mode after having been a teacher, now I was getting into the corporate side of things. There was no way I could have done it without my husband either, right? He was a huge support, and he still is. And the support, don't try and make it more difficult for yourself. Don't turn away support. If you have a friend who's willing to, come over and look after the kids, just say yes. We just need to learn to make our lives easier instead of more difficult. And that is a personal battle that I'm sure everybody has, right? Like, I know that I have it all the time. And, but again, recognizing the problem is half the solution. So now I know that these are things that I am okay with. These are things that I'm not okay with. And there's no age, right? Please don't limit yourself. I had a friend over, she's just over 40. She was like, oh, but now I'm 40. Like, I don't want to go back and study. And I was like, why? I was like, is there someone who said you can't? Is there someone who said you're too old? Like, she was like, no, but ab kaun kare, like, why should we do it? And I was like, no, like, go ahead. If something you want to do, just do it. Why do you have to second guess yourself? So, like, I could fill this with motivational quotes, but I won't, because it's honestly just a very personal story. I just want to keep it as real as I can. And I want you to know that I, as a person, also got caught up with life, right? For the first few years. And yes, when things were stable, I grew up and I found myself again, let's say. And again, like, people I see, so when I'm on LinkedIn, I see my students who are now managers, senior managers, who they could probably be my boss if they wanted to. But does that make me feel uneasy? Does that make me feel, oh God, like, oh, they're there and I'm still thinking, no, it's everybody's journey is different. Like, why do we have to compare ourselves with everybody else, right? And as soon as we let that barrier go, it just becomes so much easier. Like, I could have been in that rut where, oh, well, I taught him in 10th grade and now he's a senior manager and I'm like sitting here stuffing envelopes, but what's the big deal? And I was like, wow, I'm so proud of you, you did so well. So, yeah, I mean, that would be like the sum up of what I want to say is just don't give up on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. When you've got support, take it. Everybody's story is extraordinary. Mine is no different. Mine is just out there. I wanted to keep it real. I wanted to let everyone know that sometimes you share these talks and you're so blown away. I know I am, and I'm like, wow, she's achieved so much, and look at these things that she brought, battled with, but everybody does. It's just that everybody's story doesn't get out there. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna wrap it up. I don't want to keep it too long, so I just want to end it off by saying that keep going, and even if you accomplish the tiniest thing at any point in time, it's still an accomplishment. Don't downplay yourself. All right. If you need a day off, take a day off. It's fine. Okay. And, I mean, as far as just don't be hard on yourself. That's what I want to tell women everywhere, because that's the main thing that I suffer from. Right? I set standards for myself, and I'm like, oh no, I have to be on the spot and on the dot. And yeah, so just don't do that. And you guys, what you've done with this, I think this is amazing. The fact that you're reaching out to regular women to let their story be told, because we always see women who seem not approachable, who seem very distant, right? But it's just telling you that people are right there, and everybody's very open. Everybody goes through it, and it's just a part of life. So I think this is great. I want to commend you guys for it. And thank you for inviting me as the first speaker. I told you I'm very nervous, but I think we did okay. So yeah,
you did well.
Yeah, this is great, and keep it up. And I look forward to everybody else who's going to be coming on as well. So thank you very much.
No, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and sharing your personal struggles. It's not easy to talk about, personal struggles and what we are going through every day, day in, day out. So thank you so much, Umama, for giving us time today. I know our time difference between Bahrain, Pakistan, and Canada is all here and there. And even while coordinating for this, I was saying some other time and thinking some other time in my head. So thank you so much for giving us your time. I would like to sum it up by everything that you said today, that, everyone has their own struggle. We must not compare with other people. We should focus on ourselves and recognize our own strengths and weaknesses. And I loved how you said that, you found yourself again at 32. And that's really, something that I very firmly also believe in, that age is literally just a number. And we should not really focus so much on what age we are at. So thank you so much once again, Umama. And for our viewers, if you feel that you have a story that you would like to share with us and with our community here, or if you know somebody whose story is worth sharing, please get in touch with us on Facebook, on our email. All the details are up on all our pages. All our handles are also here on the screen. So please get in touch with us, and we would love to feature you as well. And inshallah, see you in the next episode of this series. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much. Okay. That is.
Hafiz.